In the gorge of Jerme, in the southeast of Serbia, deep in the soil, there is a story about a pastor who became a priest, about a priest who became a legend, and about a legend that is still being read today on the maps of the old ages. And it interprets in the languages of all those who, following his footsteps, set out for the treasure. The name of Martin Himović, both Pope and Harambash, connects both prayer and sin, and the sanctuary and curse. But the story of the gold he hid is much greater and more brilliant than all the gold that shine in the minds of all treasure hunters. Pope Martin and his comrade, Duke, or as they call him in that region, Vojvoda Vuk, are believed to have been Chetans in the first half of the 19th century. The data are different. In all those regions, both in southeast Serbia and on the other side of Old Mountain, in Bulgaria, it is very difficult to separate reality from legend. It is so intertwined that it is no longer known what is truth, what is legend, what is imagination. And these stories are passed down from generation to generation for centuries. It is even said that Pope Martin's treasure, which is located in 889 caves, is one of the 5 greatest treasures in the world. It contains a total of 12,000 loads of treasure. It is something that fascinates, that attracts those who want to search, to test their luck searching for treasure. On this crossroads of myths and reality, there is evidence of the Balkan outlaws. It is believed that Pope Martin and Duke Vojvoda really existed. There are so many stories, myths, legends around them that it is impossible to separate them. What is the truth and what is not? The truth is that the Bulgarian encyclopedia took Pope Martin, who called him Duke, which means that in a way it declared his existence. However, the truth is that even today, it is not known where Pope Martin came from, where he lived, when he lived, where he was born. Pope Martin is not one person, but there is a great similarity between Pope Martin and King Mark. Both men appear in legends and stories in the whole Balkans. Both helped the orphanage. It is only known who King Mark was, where he died, where he was born, while for Pope Martin, it is about several personalities. There are 6 different places of birth that are related to Pope Martin. One of those places is Sevlievo. According to that legend, Pope Martin normally did his job in the village until Manuk Beg appeared, who cast an eye on Pope's beautiful wife and decided to come to her. He invited the Pope with his family to visit him, to pay his respects. The Pope went with his wife and son. However, after a lavish evening, Manuk Beg followed Pope Martin home, while his wife and son stayed in the harem, speaking, "Go, Korine, stay in the harem until the evening. It's better to be alive than to be dead. You can find another wife, but it's hard to find a head. Get out now, get out." The Pope could not survive that shame. He was even more shocked when he found out that his wife had run away. As a sign of great pain and protest, he took off his priest cloak. Bulgarians say that there is even a village called Raspopovci, where he took off his cloak and joined the current Harambar society of Duke Vuk. Over time, he became equal in knowledge, skill and courage with Duke Vuk, and he got the title of Duke. In order to consecrate Manuk Beg, he sent his man to work as a tailor at Manuk Beg's shop. When Manuk Beg went to Jedrina, the tailor found out that he was in the right place and that he could meet him there. The Hajduks came, embraced them, and after a few big problems, they killed Manuk Beg, and later on, they killed his wife, the ex-wife of Pope Martin, because they saw that she, for the sake of love, respect, money, and a comfortable life, decided to become a Turk by thinking and behaving. When he couldn't change his mind, he ordered his wife to be killed, and he went to Hajduk live. Locals speak about the existence of several different people as a response to the character of Pope Martin. There are 3 or 4 Pope Martins in different periods of time, and in different places in the Balkans. There is one Pope Martin, who was born in the village of Batten on the Danube, and there is a book about him called Pope Martin Duke. Another Pope Martin is mentioned in that area, in the village of Ginci, and there is a story about him that he wanted to cross the Danube, and he did it. The third Pope Martin is also mentioned in our area. Village of Borovo, there is a hill, about 950 meters high, which is now called Martin, and it used to be a big forest. Only after the Ottoman Turks, they made it. In the middle of the hill, there is a church, which is now called a saint, Mother of God. But it was demolished during the Ottoman period because the Ottomans found out that the Pope Martin was cooperating with the Hajduks, or he himself was a Hajduk. And then they demolished that church and forced the women and children to bring the soil with their feet and hands, to dig up the ruins, and the village was burned. And now the place where the village was is called Strojindol, which means a valley of buildings. According to another legend, he was from Poganovo. There he was a priest, and he came to Poganovo from Herzegovina, fleeing from the Turks. He brought with him his daughter Zlata and his wife Vida. When the Turk fell in Poganovo in the village, while he was serving in the monastery, he raped his wife. She, out of heavy hunger, shame, sadness, pain, pulled out a hidden knife, killed the Turk, and then killed herself. When the priest saw what had happened, he was shocked. He took off his cloak, took his daughter Zlata, joined the Chetniks' army of Duke Vuk, or Duke Vulcan. He taught his daughter to shoot, ride, fight, and together with his daughter, he continued to fight and take revenge. The Turkish caravans, which passed through that roads, were passing through those forests. He attacked the caravans. He was hiding from the Turks, in the surrounding caves, in the pits. And they believed that the treasure is in those caves somewhere. All these legends, stories, truth, are supported by the fact that whole area is connected with the Constantinople road, which led to Istanbul, where the caravans passed with mercy. So it is true that in this area, very often, something is found. There are many sites where treasure collectors gather, exchange, share maps, stories, knowledge. But no one has yet found those large gold shops of Pope Martin. The legend says that it was because of Pope Martin, who, near the Poganov monastery, intercepted the Turkish caravan, which was heading towards Istanbul, and was wise enough to hide the Turkish goods very well. Unfortunately, Pope Martin and the inhabitants of Poganovo were exposed, and in the desire for redemption, the Turks returned on Friday, looted the monastery, and killed the population, burning the village. The rest of the popes were caught, held by the beard, and dragged to a place where they were killed. Then they were buried there. Now it is called the Grave of the Popes. The graves of the popes are buried there, and the forest was set on fire. And the whole place is called the graveyard. The fact is that the Poganovo monastery was set on fire and looted at the end of the 18th century, on the day of Easter, that the monks were killed, that the people who came to the service were killed. Also, according to legend, Pope Martin survived. The support of Pope Martin, Duke Vulcan, and his Hajduks led to the creation of 889 caves with goods. However, the name Vulcan, better known in Serbia as Duke Vuk, almost completely disappeared from the legend, although he is the main Harambash in the story. In all the well-known search lists, there is only one name, the name of Pope Martin Himovic, and the long-lost chimney, better known as Smukova Jama, in which they say there is enough gold to cover the depths of all Balkan countries around. Pope Martin mentions Smukova very little about the cave. It obviously became popular after his death. Treasure hunters are looking for Smukova Jama in the area of Pogan's monastery and Gudur and gorge of rivers there. Legend says there are 3 entrances to cave. One is the main entrance where the Hajduks carried goods and loads of treasures. The other is the entrance is from the river. It is said that if the entrance behind the river was found, it would bypass the main road where the Hajduks brought the treasure. It would avoid the blow of the Aesculapius' serpent snake, that leaves everyone dead on the spot. The third entrance is actually the most hidden, where Smukova Cave is. The name of the mysterious cave in this area is a symbol of a great desire for wealth, but also a fear of death. Legend is that Smukova was made by a famous craftsman from Pustadrzina, a village next to Sukovo, between Sukovo and Poganovo. He was so experienced that he made Smukova snake killing mechanism, which can kill people without interruption, with no limits, can't get tired, no fuel needed to work, and it works for centuries, don't stops. Stories are also circulating speculation about what kind of mechanism it is. It is said that it is actually not a normal horizontal cave, but a vertical one, where you have to descend 30 meters into the ground to reach the platform. There are 3 stairs. On the 3rd step, there is a trap. If someone steps on that step, their weight activates the mechanism, and with noise and smoke, the Aesculapius' serpent snake comes out of the darkness and kills the seeker directly in the chest. Behind 7 loads of treasure that Pope Martin hid in a pit, a few dozen meters underground, and that it takes 7 people to die for the 8th seeker to find the treasure. So far, 3 have died. 3 explorers came from France to look for the treasure. They are gone forever. They died from the blow of the snake, they say. 4 more must die. Among the many relics attributed to Pope Martin is a leather manuscript dated June 12, 1758, detailing the treasure's hiding place.